My sister skipped my wedding and called me an unfit mother. Now she's in therapy and wants a relationship with my child. I, 28F, have always had a complicated relationship with my older sister Ella, 32F. Growing up, we were close despite the age gap. We shared a room in our small suburban home, whispering secrets late into the night and defending each other against schoolyard bullies. Ella was my protector, my confidant, and my best friend. Our parents, hardworking middle-class folks, did their best to provide for us. Dad, 52 at the time of his passing, was a high school history teacher, passionate about his subject and always ready with a historical anecdote at the dinner table. Mom, 54F, worked as a nurse at the local hospital, often pulling double shifts to make ends meet. Despite the financial struggles, our childhood was filled with love and laughter. We'd have family game nights every Friday, go camping in the nearby state park during summers, and volunteer at the local animal shelter on weekends. Ella and I were inseparable during these activities, always partnering up and creating our own little world. Things changed dramatically when I was 16 and Ella was 20. It was a crisp autumn morning when we got the call. Dad had collapsed while teaching his first period class. By the time the ambulance arrived, it was too late. He had suffered a massive heart attack. The following weeks were a blur of black clothes, casseroles from neighbors, and hushed conversations. Mom took it really hard. She fell into a deep depression, often unable to get out of bed. The vibrant, energetic woman who used to dance around the kitchen while making pancakes on Sunday mornings was replaced by a shell of her former self. Ella, who had just started her junior year of college, immediately stepped up. She took a leave of absence from school and came home. She became like a second parent to me, helping with household chores, making sure I got to school, and even working part-time at the local diner to contribute financially. I remember one particularly rough night, about a month after Dad's passing. Mom had locked herself in her room, sobbing uncontrollably. I was sitting at the kitchen table, staring blankly at my untouched homework, feeling lost and scared. Ella came home from her shift at the diner, still in her uniform. Without a word, she pulled me into a tight hug, letting me cry into her shoulder. Then she made us both hot chocolate, just like Dad used to do when we were upset. As we sat there, sipping our drinks, she promised me that everything would be okay, that she would always take care of me. I was grateful for her support during that difficult time. Ella became my rock, the one constant in a world that had been turned upside down. She helped me with my college applications, attended my high school graduation when Mom wasn't feeling up to it, and even taught me how to drive using Dad's old pickup truck. However, as the years went by, Ella's controlling nature started to become more apparent. What had once felt like protective care began to feel suffocating. She would dictate what I could wear, criticizing outfits she deemed too revealing or inappropriate. She monitored my friendships, disapproving of anyone she thought might be a bad influence. When it came time to choose a college, she pushed me to attend the local state university so I could live at home, despite my dreams of going to a school on the West Coast. When I pushed back against her control, she would guilt-trip me by bringing up all the sacrifices she made for our family. "I gave up my college experience for you," she'd say, or, "I've been taking care of this family since Dad died, and this is how you repay me?" It got to the point where I felt suffocated and resentful. The tension between us reached a boiling point when I met my now husband, Jake, 30M, during my sophomore year of college. We met in a creative writing class. I was an English major, and he was taking the class as an elective for his computer science degree. We bonded over our love of science fiction and our shared experience of losing a parent. Jake's mom had passed away from cancer when he was a teenager. Ella immediately disliked Jake. She claimed he wasn't good enough for me, that a computer geek wouldn't be able to provide a stable future. She tried everything to break us up, from spreading rumors about him to my friends to constantly belittling him in front of our family. I remember one Thanksgiving dinner that turned particularly nasty. Jake had come over to help me prepare the meal, as Mom was having one of her bad days. Ella walked in on us laughing in the kitchen, flour on our noses from an impromptu baking fight. Her eyes narrowed, and she spent the rest of the evening making snide comments about Jake's job prospects, his family background, and even his table manners. Despite her efforts, Jake and I stayed together. He was patient and understanding, never pushing me to choose between him and my family. He supported me as I finished my degree and started my career as a high school English teacher, following in my dad's footsteps. We got married 2 years ago in a small ceremony at a local park. It was a beautiful day, filled with friends and Jake's family. But there was a noticeable absence. Ella had refused to attend, claiming that she couldn't bear to watch me make the biggest mistake of my life. Mom, torn between her daughters, ultimately chose to stay home with Ella. Their absence cast a shadow over what should have been the happiest day of my life. Since then, my relationship with Ella has been strained at best. We only see each other at major family events, and even then, the tension is palpable. She still tries to control aspects of my life, giving unsolicited advice about my career, my marriage, and even how I should style my hair. The current situation that prompted me to write this post happened last week. Jake and I found out we're expecting our first child. We've been trying for a baby for about a year, and we were overjoyed when we finally saw those two pink lines on the pregnancy test. We decided to share the news with our families over a Sunday dinner. Jake's dad and stepmom were thrilled, already talking about spoiling their first grandchild. When we told my mom, she was ecstatic. For the first time in years, I saw a genuine smile light up her face. She immediately wanted to tell Ella, hoping that this news might help bridge the gap between us. I reluctantly agreed, hoping that this news might help bridge the gap between us. Boy, was I wrong. Ella's reaction was anything but positive. She launched into a tirade about how I wasn't ready to be a mother, how Jake wouldn't be a good father, and how I was making a huge mistake. "You're too young," she insisted, ignoring the fact that she's only 4 years older than me. "You don't know the first thing about raising a child. And him?" She jerked her thumb towards Jake, who was sitting quietly beside me. "He can barely take care of himself, let alone a baby." She then demanded that I move back home so she could properly prepare me for motherhood. When I refused, her face turned cold. "Fine," she said, her voice eerily calm. "But don't come crying to me when you realize you can't handle it. And don't be surprised if someone reports you to child services once that poor baby is born. Clearly, you're not fit to be a mother." I was shocked and hurt by her reaction. I knew our relationship was strained, but I never expected her to go this far. Jake was furious and wanted to cut all ties with her immediately. Mom is once again caught in the middle, begging us to reconcile for the sake of family. I'm at a loss. Part of me wants to give Ella another chance, remembering all she did for me when we were younger. The little girl in me still yearns for the close relationship we once had, for the sister who promised to always take care of me. But another part of me is tired of her controlling behavior and wants to protect my growing family from her toxicity. Am I overreacting? Should I try to mend things with Ella for the sake of family harmony? Or is it time to set firm boundaries, even if it means potentially losing my relationship with my sister? Any advice would be appreciated. Update 1. It's been about a month since my last post, and a lot has happened. I want to thank everyone for their supportive comments and advice. It really helped me gain perspective on the situation with my sister Ella. After careful consideration and many discussions with Jake, I decided to set firm boundaries with Ella. It wasn't an easy decision. I spent nights tossing and turning, remembering the good times we shared. How she'd braid my hair before school, the secret handshake we made up, the way she'd stand up to anyone who dared to bully me. But I also remembered the suffocating control, the guilt trips, the constant criticism of my choices. I wrote her a long email explaining how her behavior has affected me over the years, and how her reaction to my pregnancy news was the last straw. I poured my heart out, telling her how much I appreciated everything she did for me when we were younger, but also how her controlling behavior had damaged our relationship. I laid out some ground rules for our future interactions. No unsolicited advice about my pregnancy or parenting. No attempts to undermine my relationship with Jake. No spreading rumors or making threats about my fitness as a mother. Respect for my decisions, even if she disagrees with them. I told her that if she couldn't abide by these rules, I would have to limit my contact with her for the sake of my mental health and my family's well-being. It was one of the hardest emails I've ever had to write, but I knew it was necessary. Ella's initial response was not great. She sent back a long, angry email accusing me of being ungrateful and selfish. She brought up all the sacrifices she made for me. Dropping out of college, working long hours at the diner, helping me with my homework. She said I was throwing away our sisterly bond over a man who would probably leave me as soon as things got tough. Her words stung, bringing back memories of all the times she'd used her sacrifices to manipulate me. But this time, I didn't let it get to me. I didn't respond to this email, following the advice of many commenters to not engage in her emotional manipulation. Instead, I focused on preparing for the baby and taking care of my health. So Jake has been incredibly supportive through all of this. He's been attending all my prenatal appointments with me, holding my hand through the morning sickness and mood swings. We've started preparing the nursery, transforming our spare room into a cozy space for our future little one. Jake even signed us up for parenting classes, saying he wanted to be as prepared as possible for our new arrival. About a week after I sent the email, Mom called me. She was upset about the situation and tried to convince me to apologize to Ella. "She's your sister," Mom pleaded. "She loves you and only wants what's best for you." I took a deep breath and explained my position. I told Mom about the years of controlling behavior, the constant criticism, and how Ella's reaction to my pregnancy had been the final straw. To my surprise, after listening to me, Mom said she understood where I was coming from. She admitted that she had enabled Ella's controlling behavior over the years out of guilt for relying on her so much after Dad died. "I'm so sorry, sweetie," Mom said, her voice cracking. "I didn't realize how much pressure I was putting on both of you. I was so lost after your father died, and Ella stepped up so naturally. I guess I just let her take over without thinking about how it would affect your relationship." Mom promised to stop playing mediator between us and said she would support whatever decision I made about my relationship with Ella. This was a huge relief for me, as I had been worried about damaging my relationship with Mom as well. As for Ella, she's been silent since her angry email. Part of me is sad about this, remembering the close relationship we once had. But mostly I feel a sense of relief. The constant stress of managing her emotions and expectations is gone, and I can focus on my pregnancy and my relationship with Jake. We've started telling more people about the pregnancy, and the positive reactions from friends and other family members have been overwhelming. My best friend from college, Sarah, even threw us a small celebration dinner. As I sat there, surrounded by people genuinely happy for us, I realized how much negative energy Ella had been bringing into my life. I'm now 16 weeks along, and we recently had our second trimester ultrasound. Everything looks good, and we found out we're having a little girl. Jake and I are over the moon. We spent the evening after the appointment discussing potential names and dreaming about our daughter's future. We've decided not to share this news with Ella for now, given her previous reaction. It's a strange feeling, keeping such joyful news from someone who was once my closest confidant. But I know it's the right decision for now. I'm still open to rebuilding a relationship with Ella in the future, but only if she can respect my boundaries. For now, I'm focusing on the positives in my life. My supportive husband, our growing daughter, my improved relationship with mom, and the excitement of becoming a parent. Thank you all again for your support. I'll update again if there are any significant developments. Update 2. It's been about 3 months since my last update, and I'm now 28 weeks pregnant. The baby is healthy, and aside from some back pain and swollen ankles, I'm doing well. Jake has been amazing, giving me foot rubs every night and making sure I'm comfortable. I wanted to update you all on the situation with Ella because there have been some unexpected developments. About a month ago, Mom called me with some surprising news. Apparently, Ella had started seeing a therapist. According to Mom, Ella realized that her behavior was pushing everyone away, and she wanted to work on herself. I was cautiously optimistic, but decided to maintain my distance until I saw real change. I didn't want to get my hopes up only to be disappointed again. I've been hurt too many times before. 2 weeks ago, I received an email from Ella. It was different from her usual messages. No guilt tripping, no demands, just a simple apology and a request to meet for coffee if I felt comfortable. The email was short, but it felt sincere. After discussing it with Jake, I agreed to meet her at a cafe near our house. I was nervous, my stomach churning with a mix of anticipation and dread. Jake offered to wait nearby in case things went south, and I gratefully accepted his offer. When I saw Ella, I was struck by how different she looked. The perpetual frown lines on her forehead had softened, and she seemed calmer, less tense. She started by apologizing for her behavior, both recently and over the years. She admitted that she had been using her role as my caretaker to control me, and that it wasn't healthy for either of us. Ella explained that therapy had helped her realize she had never properly dealt with Dad's death and the pressure she put on herself to hold the family together. She acknowledged that her treatment of Jake and her reaction to my pregnancy were completely out of line. "I was so scared of losing you," she confessed, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "After Dad died, you and Mom became my whole world. I thought if I could control everything, I could keep you safe. But I see now that I was just pushing you away." I listened to her and shared my own feelings about how her behavior had affected me. It was a long, emotional conversation, but for the first time in years, I felt like my sister was really hearing me. Ella asked about the baby and seemed genuinely happy when I told her it was a girl. She didn't offer any unsolicited advice, just asked if there was anything I needed help with. It was a small gesture, but it meant a lot. While this meeting was positive, I'm still cautious. Years of controlling behavior can't be undone in a few therapy sessions. I told Ella that I appreciated her apology and her efforts to change, but that rebuilding our relationship would take time. She understood and said she was willing to respect my boundaries. We've had a few more brief, positive interactions since then. Ella has stuck to her word about not giving unsolicited advice or trying to control things. She even sent a lovely gift for the baby, a set of children's books that we used to read together when we were little. It was a thoughtful gesture that brought back fond memories of our childhood. Jake is still wary of Ella, which I understand. He's been my rock through all of this, and he's seen firsthand how Ella's behavior has affected me. I've assured him that while I'm open to improving my relationship with my sister, he and our baby are my priority. We've agreed that any future interactions with Ella will be on our terms. Mom is thrilled that we're talking again, but I've reminded her that it's still a work in progress. I'm cautiously optimistic, but taking things one day at a time. As for the pregnancy, everything is going well. Jake and I have finished setting up the nursery, painting the walls a soft yellow and filling the room with books and stuffed animals. We're now focused on choosing a name for our little girl. It's exciting and a little scary to think that in just a few months, we'll be parents. Thank you all for your continued support. I'll update again after the baby is born. Update 3. Hello everyone, it's been a while since my last update. Our daughter Lily was born 2 months ago, and life has been a whirlwind ever since. She's healthy, beautiful, and has completely stolen our hearts. Jake and I are exhausted, but happier than we've ever been. I wanted to give you all a final update on the situation with Ella. In the weeks leading up to Lily's birth, Ella continued to respect my boundaries. She checked in occasionally, but never pressured me for more involvement than I was comfortable with. When I went into labor, Jake called my mom, who then informed Ella. To my surprise, Ella's response was perfectly appropriate. She wished us well and said she'd be happy to visit when we were ready for guests, but only if we wanted her to. It was a small gesture, but it meant a lot during such a stressful time. The birth itself was intense but beautiful. Jake was by my side the entire time, holding my hand and encouraging me through each contraction. When Lily finally arrived, the love I felt was overwhelming. All the family drama seemed to fade away as I held my daughter for the first time. We invited Ella to meet Lily when she was 2 weeks old. I was a bit nervous, but the visit went surprisingly well. Ella was gentle with Lily and didn't try to take over or give unwanted advice. She even brought a homemade meal for us, remembering how exhausting the newborn phase can be. As she held Lily, I saw a softness in Ella's eyes that I hadn't seen in years. "She's beautiful," Ella whispered, gently stroking Lily's cheek. "You're doing a great job, both of you." Since then, Ella has been a positive presence in our lives. She visits about once a week, always calling ahead to make sure it's a good time. She's respectful of our parenting choices and has formed a sweet bond with Lily. Last week, she offered to babysit so Jake and I could have a date night, our first since Lily was born. We were hesitant at first, but the evening went smoothly, and Ella followed all our instructions to the letter. Jake has slowly warmed up to Ella as well. He appreciates the effort she's making and how she respects our roles as Lily's parents. They're not best friends, but they can have civil conversations now, which is a huge improvement. Of course, things aren't perfect. There are moments when I see flashes of Ella's old controlling tendencies, but she catches herself quickly and corrects her behavior. It's clear she's still working on herself, and I appreciate her efforts. Our relationship is different now. Maybe not as close as we were when we were kids, but healthier. We're learning to be sisters as adults, with mutual respect and boundaries. We've even started having occasional sister nights where we watch old movies we loved as kids and catch up on each other's lives. Mom is overjoyed to have her family together again and dotes on Lily every chance she gets. She's been a great support, offering advice when asked but respecting our parenting decisions. It's been wonderful to see her rediscover her joy and energy as a grandmother. As for me, becoming a mother has been challenging but incredibly rewarding. The sleepless nights and constant feedings are tough, but the moments of quiet joy, Lily's first smile, the way she coos when I sing to her, make it all worthwhile. Jake has been an amazing partner and father. Watching him with Lily, seeing the love and tenderness in his eyes as he rocks her to sleep, makes me fall in love with him all over again. I'm grateful for how things have turned out. While the journey wasn't easy, it led to positive changes in my family dynamics. I've learned the importance of setting boundaries, standing up for myself, and giving people the chance to change while also protecting my own well-being. Looking back at where we were a year ago, I'm amazed at how much has changed. There's still work to be done, especially in my relationship with Ella, but I'm hopeful for the future. I want Lily to grow up knowing the love of her extended family, including her Aunt Ella, but I also want her to understand the importance of healthy relationships and self-respect. Thank you all for your support throughout this journey. Your advice and encouragement helped me navigate a difficult situation and come out stronger on the other side. While I don't know what the future holds, I feel equipped to handle whatever comes our way, with Jake by my side and Lily in our arms.